Hi everyone, in the last video I gave you a preview of what we'll be building in this tutorial series. In this video, my main focus will be on the project template. If you're solely interested in learning how to implement Editor.js on our project, feel free to skip ahead. However, I believe it's important to start from scratch to ensure a thorough understanding. To build this project, I am going to use Vite tool. In the terminal, I am typing npm create Vite at latest. For the project name, I'm going to use Notes app. And I'm going to select the React framework with JavaScript as the language. Lastly, navigate into the project folder and install all dependencies. To open this project in the VS Code editor, I'll type code. Before I continue, I want to delete some files in the project. Now I'll install the Bootstrap and Sass packages. After the installation, I'm going to create a new folder in the src directory named scss. Inside this file, I'll import the Bootstrap packages. In the src folder, I'll create a new folder named Components. In the app.jsx file, I want to render the New Note button. To see this in the browser, I'll type in the terminal npm run dev. The browser opened, but in the main.jsx file, I have a typo in the import code. And our button is now showing at the bottom of the page. I'm going to icons.getbootstrap.com. And then I'll go to the install section and copy the icon CDN. Next, I'm going to return to the Bootstrap icons page and search for a notebook icon. I'll click on one of these and copy the I tag. I'll save it and return back to the browser. Our icon is now showing inside the button. I want to open a modal when the user clicks on this button. First, I'm going to the editor modal file and add a functional component named editor modal. I want to grab some code from the Bootstrap webpage. In the Bootstrap documentation, I'm going to the modal page. I want this modal to be large in size, so I'll add modal LG to this code. And then for more clarity, I'll change the ID name to editor modal. I'll change the title to editor modal. The modal body to modal body, and the button's name to save note. To center the modal, I'll add the modal dialog centered class. To enable scrolling inside the modal, I'll add the modal dialog scrollable class. And to cover the screen on larger displays, I'll add the modal full screen LG down class. Lastly, I'll select all of the class attributes, and following React's naming convention, change them to class name. To add a click event to the button, I must import this modal into the app.jsx file. So I'll import it at the top of this file first. And then add the editor modal component to the return block. And to open this modal when users click, I'll add databs toggle. To link it to the editor modal, I'll also add databs target. And this attribute must match with the editor modal's ID. I'll save it and return back to the browser. And the modal appears in the center of the screen. Now, I want to display all notes on this page. To render this card on the page, I'll go back to the app.jsx file and import the card component. Inside this tag, I'll include the card component. I'll go back to the browser, and the card component is now displayed. I want to add a delete button at the top right corner of this card. Inside the button tag, I'll add a span tag with the text delete and a class name of PE1. To align this button to the right, I'll add MS Auto and Z2 to the div tag. And I also want to add a trash icon inside the button. I'll return back to the browser, and the delete button is now showing on the card. For opening the content modal, instead of adding a new button like delete, I'll make the whole card component clickable. Now, the card component is clickable. However, when I clicked, nothing happened. Inside the content modal file, I'll add a new functional component. I'll copy the code from the editor modal file and paste it in the return block. I'll go to the card.jsx file and import this component for the click event. If I return to the browser and click the card component, it toggles the content modal component. And if I click the edit button, it toggles the editor modal component. I want to add a dummy notes array to display notes of different sizes. I'll pass the note's title, body, and ID as props to the card component. In the card.jsx file, I'll destructure these props. To link each specific note with its note ID, I'll concatenate each note's ID to the databs target value. I'll link each note's ID to the content modal component. I'll go to the browser, and when I click on each note, it opens the corresponding note's content. I want to change the view of the notes listing to a Masonry layout. To do this, I'll use this npm package. I'll go to the app.jsx file and import this package first. Then I'll wrap the card component with the Masonry tag. Above 1200 pixels, I want 3 columns for notes. Between 1200 and 768 pixels, I want 2 columns. And under 768 pixels, I want just 1 column. I'll go to the browser. And now the Masonry layout is displayed. Now I'll test these breakpoints. When the screen is above 1200 pixels, there are 3 columns. When the screen is under 1200 pixels, there are 2 columns. And when under 768 pixels, there is only 1 column displayed. I have encountered some invalid DOM property errors. To fix this, I'll review the editor and change any property names to adhere to React's naming convention. Now all errors are gone and all codes are working. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.